Have you heard of money? All these people that do money doubling, they look at you and say, how are you, sir? The moment you see them in the eyes, psst, na cash. And then they tell you, we have a chemical, red mercury. We can double your money to any amount. One came to me some years back. Discernment is an asset. They called. Are you Mike? I said, yes, I'm Mike. He said, how you do? It's been a while. I said, yeah. Are you still in Makodi? I said, yes, I'm here. He said, how about your friend, Owina? I called him. Are they still in Kano? I said, yes. He said, there is a transformer deal we are doing. As I'm talking to you now, we have paid over 50 million. And then you hear 50 million. He said, in fact, the contractor is coming now with chopper. They are supposed to land at the Air Force base. A car will pick them to move it. But they are insisting that they don't trust me. I should bring one sample. How much is sample? 560,000. That if they just see the sample, they will credit that they are not greedy. They know me. They are going to give me 30%. But mathematics began. What is 30% of 50 million? I was already calculating around 4 point something million. Ha! They said, no, all they need is just to... I said, but you can remove the sample. It's not your property. They said, no. You can't open any pack. So what they want to do now is to get one extra pack from what they've supplied already, and that's what they've charged. I called my sister in immigration, called this one. Where do we get money? Where do we get money? Pastor Sonny went to the mother shop. How much do we have here? We started gathering money from everywhere. 550,000 must come out. When I told my sister, she said, chopper? Is it so easy to access chopper at such a time? She now called her colleague to find out because she's in the force. When she said transformer, the colleague said, are they bringing chopper? Has chopper come? That's when they started laughing. Said they are liars. Meanwhile, as at the time we are talking, they've already sent me recharge card of 2,000 naira so that call shouldn't end at any time. Don't.
You're welcome to Encounter Sermon. Here you'll be getting powerful messages that will change and transform your life for good. Stay blessed as you watch. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.
The reason many never exercise dominion is because they are foolish in decision making. Nobody who makes foolish decisions can ever exercise dominion. It's like shooting yourself in the leg. Now, discretion is different from discerning of spirit. Discernment is different from discerning of spirits. I'm dealing with dominion through discernment. Discernment is different from what? Discerning of spirit. The gift of discerning of spirit is the capacity to identify and perceive the presence of spirits, be it of God, of man, of demons or devils. That is different from sound judgment. So discernment is not discerning of spirits. Discernment is discretion or sound judgment. So we are saying dominion can be exercised through sound judgment. And we want to study how to route dominion through sound judgment. And it's not just sound judgment in an intellectual sense of it. No. It is actually the ability to perceive God's will in a situation, thereby making the right decision. So dominion through discernment is a dimension of dominion exercised through sound judgment. And it's not intellectual judgment per se. It's the capacity to perceive God's will in a situation. And on the strength of that perception, making the right decision. If you will elaborate it further, I splitted it into 4. I said number 1, it is spiritual discernment. That means judging by the agency of the Spirit. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 12 to 14. We have not received the spirit that is of this world, but the Spirit which is of God, that we might know the things that are freely given to us by God. Verse 13. Which things we speak, not with words that man's wisdom teaches. So this is not mental judgment. This is spiritual judgment. Not with words that man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. Verse 14, he said, but the natural man. So he's giving you a distinction between decision made based on philosophy or mathematical logic from spiritual judgment. For the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. He said, for they are foolishness unto him. He said, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. So we are dealing with judgment based on spiritual perception. That's why I call it spiritual discernment. Number two, it is a judgment that helps you to define and to separate good from evil. So you are able to tell with all discretion, no matter how it is masqueraded, that this thing is evil. You can come to a place, they are speaking all the right language, acting all right, all nice, but something in your spirit tells you this thing is wrong. That's why I said there's a way that seemeth right unto a man. It said, but the end is destruction. So the ability to distinguish good and evil is what we are talking about here. Hebrews 5 verse 12 to 14. It said, for when ye ought to be teachers, it said, you have need of being taught the first principles of the oracles of God, and you have become as such as have need of milk and not strong meat. Verse 13, it said, for everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, and he is a babe. Verse 14 is my emphasis. It said, but strong meat belongs to them who by reason of use have exercised their senses to discern between good and evil. So dominion through discernment is the capacity to discern between good and evil. No matter how evil is shrouded in what appears to be good, your spirit will judge that this is not of God. You may not have seen any spirit involved, but you just know this is not good. Sometimes the issue might even be good, but it will end bad. You have judged in your spirit that this thing won't end well. At the end, there is evil, and you pull back. And people may be in that matter for 2 years, doing very well. How many of you know MMM? Mantoka parakatoa. Some of us were still growing in discernment. Kalo kateva. You see people, how do they put it now? To send out and to collect. There's a way they put it. Okay, you people have discernment. You were discerning. Some grew to guiders. When they became guiders, they didn't cut off in the middle. So it's like falling from an aircraft without parachute. Appear so good, but evil. There were people that, with all the persuasion, they say no. The gain is good, but leave it. Let's watch it first. That's discernment. Many have lost their ministries, lost their careers, lost their businesses because they could not discern. This is why they can't reign in life. So the fortune of 10 years, they threw it into an investment that vanished overnight. And so the 10 years have been eaten by caterpillar worm. That's one of the definitions of worm. Canker worm, palmer worm, 20 years investment sank in 1 minute. Is caterpillar. So those of you who are into quick businesses, you need discernment. See, there's a realm beyond a robot or a boat. I know some of you are forex traders. Yeah, I'm not saying anything about anything, but you need discernment to know when to trade and not to trade. This is why you need this. So when I'm teaching you how to get discernment, carry your pen and write fast, because you will need it. Number 3 is the capacity to judge rightly in complex situations. So I'm talking guidance that even you can't explain. The Bible said in Proverbs chapter 3 from verse 5 to verse 6, it said, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on thy own understanding. It said, in all your ways acknowledge him, he will direct your path. See, have you not looked back 2 years into your life and you see the complex contours that you navigated, and you know that you don't have the intellectual capacity to have passed through these paths? It's like your steps were ordered. That's discernment at work. So you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but it's like walking through a landmine. You know exactly where to keep your steps. You know when to talk. You know when to be quiet. You know when to smile. You know when not to show any impression. All of those navigatory equipments, only discernment can supply them. So you are directed beyond your mind. See, when you find people who reign and dominate in life, they make little mistakes. One of the things that brings you to power, sustained influence, is the capacity to reduce your errors. Because there are certain errors that are called king-size errors. There are people who made a statement in the wrong place and their career ended. They are called king-size. So the reason some are not reigning is indiscretion. They made a statement. They took a step when they shouldn't. And it wrecked all their efforts. This is why for dominion to happen, you need discernment. Number 4 is the capacity to test spirits. You have no discernment and you cannot function in dominion through discernment except as you are able to test spirits. When people talk, you can tell the spirit powering them. Many have married wrongly because they couldn't test spirits. Many have gone into business partnerships that wrecked their lives because they couldn't test spirits. You may not see it, but when they talk, you can tell the character of the spirit that is being manifested. Then you have discernment. 1 John 4 verse 1. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test every spirit, whether they be of God, because many false prophets are gone into the world. This is where most of us in ministry make errors. I'm telling you, as a minister of God, you'll be shocked. See, people buy people's star to use them in seasons where they are falling. I didn't know that. Young minister growing up, somebody approaches you, man of God, I'm blessed by your ministry. Before you know what is happening, as we are talking with them, somebody is recording with phone. That's why you see most of these people that everywhere they go, somebody is with phone. Be careful, sir. If not for mercy, some of us wouldn't be here. That's why I love elders. Because sometimes when you don't pick it up, they will now call you and say, this part, tread with caution. That's why you see some of us, there are people that we had public relationship with only once. You'll never find us with them again. Because we couldn't pick it, but people who have a more sound judgment said, you are going far. This road is shortcut. Don't follow it. You will end up in a ditch. You have not heard anything from God, but discernment. It's called sound judgment. There are indicators that you need to see. And you apply it everywhere. If you have discernment, you'll be able to test spirits. Somebody comes to you and tell you, hey, my brother, my ship is on the high sea. I need 10 billion now. Tomorrow I will give you. You heard tomorrow, then you... This is a lying spirit talking. There's no tomorrow in this conversation. Some of you who didn't know you were not wise. They knock at your door around 1 a.m. Hey, please, my son is convulsing. He's convulsing. I just called the doctor. They say I need 10 million. I need 1 million. I need 100,000. Compassion. You run. As you go to carry money now, nobody is convulsing anywhere. He needs that money to buy a car. That's the balance. He promised the car vendor that he will complete the payment tomorrow. You are testing spirit. You come back, you say, Kai, I thought I would be able to give you money now, but can we wait in the afternoon? He said, okay, if it's afternoon. But I thought you said it's an emergency. I can't wait in the morning. You need some. Do you know people who are treasurers have carried money of loan, of all these native loan lenders, money lenders, and they borrow people out of sympathy. The person comes and says, I've invested 50 million. It's just 2 million. This is about to go down the drain. They can't sleep. They sleep. They roll. Lord, but you say we should have compassion. Lord, test spirit first. You will know it's a lie. You'll give that person that money. You are driving back home in the evening. You'll see him in Beth, Niger, selecting. That is your money. Then next week they come. You didn't test the spirit to know it's a lying spirit. When people talk to you, you should be able to judge the character of the spirit that is powering that communication. For you to reign in life, these things must become fixed in you. That's why don't leave this meeting today until you know how to develop discernment so that you can dominate in life. Let's speed up a little because of time. How does discernment impart dominion? Because I need to show you. When I teach, 3 things I try to do is to show you what, is to show you how, and to show you why. So that you can apply what you are learning. So I want to show you how discernment imparts dominion so that you will learn how to apply it to your life. Number 1, discernment imparts dominion by exposing your enemies, no matter how disguised they appear. There are people who come to you, they tell you, don't worry, we are fighting for you. They came to get information to take back to where you'll be destroyed. If you don't have discernment, you will pour out your vulnerability and you won't know why your enemies at covering mileage while they are yet destroying you. Some years ago, I was in the middle of a complex situation. People will come. When they enter, they will first hold your hand and pray with you. Malakaya. Lord, this arrow is a mighty arrow. It must hit target. When they finish praying with you, they will now sit down with you and talk. You will now feel that, oh, these are your brothers. You will pour your heart. The next thing, the next attack, that thing you'll discuss with that person is what sponsors it. I didn't know. Until the Holy Ghost came to me, cut off this one, cut off this one. I carried my phone, blocked. It was when I blocked that feelers began to come. Ah, this person is the one who said this. It will take you 2 years to believe. So the reason discernment help you to have dominion is that he exposes your enemies, because 90% of your enemies will come in disguise. That's why somebody said you will never find Satan with horns. He will come as a smooth talker, beautifully arrayed, so that he will undermine your discernment and then kill you when you expect the least. Discernment. 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11, it said, lest Satan should take advantage of us. It said, for we are not ignorant of the devices of the enemy. So it's discernment that puts us perpetually in the place of advantage, so that you can't be deceived. When somebody is talking, you are listening to your spirit. The one that comes from your spirit is more important to you than whatever they tell you, so that your enemy, no matter how he appears, you can say you are the one. Those of you who watch movies, if you watch Thor, there's a young man called Loki, his brother. He can masquerade as anybody and kill you. He can even come as your father. If you don't have discernment, you'll be in trouble. And see, some people are not evil. They love you, and they love you too much that they love you out of destiny. Did you see Peter? Jesus said, I'm going to Jerusalem to die. He put him by the side and rebuked him. Don't say it again. Get behind me, Satan. For you don't serve all the things that be of God but of man. He knew this is not Peter. If that thing enters you, he will build something in you that will take you out of destiny. So you need discernment. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 3 to 4. It says, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are what? Lost. So there are a group of people that are so lost that our gospel can't help them. Who are they? Those who are blinded. They can't discern. So when a man loses discernment, sometimes even the most potent forces in the spirit can't help them. If our gospel be hid, it says it is hid to them that are lost, whom the God of this world is that had blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ should shine upon their souls. So if your enemy is revealed to you, then you can take strategies of escape or to confront him. Number 2, how does discernment impart dominion? By helping you to make righteous decisions. And you know, the Bible said righteousness exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach. So for anybody to be exalted to the cadre of dominion, he must consistently make righteous decisions. But you cannot always make righteous decisions if you are not discerning. Because when you are blinded, you can make decisions out of sentiments and only discover later that you punished an innocent person or you erred in your conversation. Isaiah 11 verse 3 to 4. It says, he will not judge with his eyes, nor decide by what his ears hear. It said, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. So people who you see making right decisions all the time, at their root is discernment. Even Jesus, when the 7 spirits of God mounted him, the one that helped him to maximize it was what? Righteousness. Because if you read that scripture from verse 11, it said a root is plucked out of Jesse. It said, and upon him what? Is the spirit of the Lord, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of judgment. Verse 2, the spirit of knowledge, and the spirit of the fear of the Lord. And verse 3, he shall not judge after his eyes, nor his hearing of the ears. So it was discernment that helped him to maximize the 7 spirits of God. And that's what brought him into full dominion. So you can't make righteous decisions or right decisions all the time without discernment. Number 3, how does discernment impart dominion? It helps you to make strategic decisions. Strategic. Because see, most times the junctions of life bring you to a point where you have more than one decisions to make. All of them are good, but only one is the best. It will take discernment for you not just to make the right decision, but the best decision. Now, if you read Romans 12, verse 2, you see that there is the good will of God, there is the acceptable will of God, and there is the perfect will of God. So you can take the good will of God and still succeed to a level, but that may not be the perfect will. So discernment helps you or gives you ability to make the most strategic decisions of your life. And that's why it ends up bringing you to the place of dominion. I read for you already from Proverbs 3 verse 6. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And when he directs your path, he directs your path to the best place. I know the thoughts that I think towards you. They are thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you a hope and a future. Other translation calls it an expected end. So for you to arrive at God's end for your destiny, you will need discernment. Most of us, we are celebrating God for where we are. If God opens our eyes to where we should have been, we'll be shocked. We'll start weeping. That's why you mustn't be quick to be happy. Always seek God to lead you in the path that you should go. Do you know that if Abraham continued with Terah, he still would have been a great man? Because when Abraham left his father, he left with wealth. The guy was not poor, but he would never have become the father of many nations. His posterity would not have lasted till today. So we are talking attaining the best for your life, that which God himself planned. It will take discernment. Number 4, it protects you from deception. That's why it confers dominion. If you are deceived too many times in life, you will not have enough energy, motivation, or resources to make impact. Ask those who have suffered deception before. One of the most devastating things that can happen to a man is to fall prey to deception. And the world where we live now, it is difficult to find people doing what they are doing genuinely, including ministry. That's how treacherous our generation is. Somebody preaches for 1 month. He is preparing you to empty your salary on the last week. So he uses 3 weeks to prepare your mind, so that when the moment the salary comes, you feel guilty to have to keep it for any reason. And the way he's talking, he's quoting scripture, you will want to die. He doesn't have your best interest. Nowadays that people do all these businesses online, you will see people follow emails online. Emails. When it reaches the point of transfer, they will clone your conversation and read. You have not met. I've met people who ran to me for prayers. They were deceived. Interacting, business. Last moment of transfer, 1 week later, they clone and channel conversation, because they were building up all the interactions. And at the last minute, you don't know the world we are living in. There was one who promised somebody from, I don't know, is he Indonesia now? Where's Barrister Rome? Because I handed the case to him, that he will marry her. Meanwhile, Oga has a wife with a child. You don't know this world. You will be heartbroken, and the energy to leave your Kairos season won't be there. Maybe you recover after 2 years. They say this window that just closed comes once in 14 years. So you have to wait for another 14 years for that Kairos season to come. How can you make impact? So discernment shields you from deception. He said in 2 Corinthians 11 verse 3 and 4, which is one of the most graphic scripture that dealt with deception. He said, but I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his what? Subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity of the gospel. So those who deceive, they are masters of beguiling. The word is nakash in the Hebrew. It's like the hiss of a serpent. When they show up, some, when they look into your eyes, you get confused. Have you heard of money? All these people that do money doubling, they look at you and say, how are you, sir? The moment you see them in the eyes, nakash. And then they tell you, we have a chemical, red mercury. We can double your money to any amount. One came to me some years back. Discernment is an asset. They called. Are you Mike? I said, yes, I'm Mike. He said, how you doing? It's been a while. I said, yeah. Are you still in Makodi? I said, yes, I'm here. He said, how about your friend, Owina? I called him. Are they still in Kano? I said, yes. He said, there is a transformer deal we are doing. As I'm talking to you now, we have paid over 50 million. And then you hear 50 million. He said, in fact, the contractor is coming now with chopper. They are supposed to land at the Air Force Base. A car will pick them to move it. But they are insisting that they don't trust me. I should bring one sample. How much is sample? 560,000. That if they just see the sample, they will credit. That they are not greedy. They know me. They are going to give me 30%. Mathematics began. What is 30% of 50 million? I was already calculating around 4 point something million. Ha! They said, no, all they need is just to... I said, but you can remove the sample. It's not your property. They said, no. You can't open any pack. So what they want to do now is to get one extra pack from what they've supplied already, and that's what they've charged. I called my sister in immigration, called this one. Where do we get money? Where do we get money? Pastor Sonny went to the mother shop. How much do we have here? We started gathering money from everywhere. 550,000 must come out. When I told my sister, she said, chopper? Is it so easy to access chopper at such a time? She now called her colleague to find out because she's in the force. When she said transformer, the colleague said, are they bringing chopper? Has chopper come? That's when they started laughing. Said they are liars. Meanwhile, as at the time we are talking, they've already sent me recharge card of 2,000 naira so that call shouldn't end at any time. Don't. If you are talking, let that call not end. I didn't know the guy chewed stick. Na cash. I didn't have the sample. A friend of mine, the father, after 35 years in civil service, finished, they paid gratuity. He was going home. Somebody met him and started talking tanker business, oil and gas. That was how the man sent you. This is not experience. Oh. I'm talking discernment. Do you know what it means? A civil servant of 35 years, retired as a deputy director. You know that this person has labored. Empty. You'll be wondering, what did they tell you? In the whisper of a serpent. He enters your soul. You can't sleep. And then they tell you, don't tell anybody. If anybody knows, this is a very solid, we don't want crowd. Or you will know what you are doing. You come under his spell. Until the thing breaks, then you are asking yourself, what was I processing? Deception. Terrible. A boy was sharing a story recently. They told them to go to Europe through Sahara Desert. I said, did you do any research about Sahara Desert? Who told you you can trek through Sahara? He said, no. They said they told them there's a pickup that carries the people. I think they said Liberia or Mali somewhere. Through Algeria or whatever. Do you know where they started calling his family from? When they got to Liberia, Mali or something. Libya. You heard this, you were there, but when they got to Libya, they now carried them in a hillocks. And as they were running through a desert, the guy said one of them fell. They picked the things up. Meanwhile, this is a road that hillocks passes once in 2 weeks. That means that guy's story has ended. If you don't hold the hillocks on your own, those of you who go to Europe through Sahara, they will sell you up. They ended up selling this guy in Algeria. That's where they were calling his family from. They got that money to send for his bail. Before they started struggling on how to deport him to Nigeria. Don't hear everything. Most of us are too naive. I wish I knew these things early. Trying to do a business, chopper is coming. And you hear chopper 15 years ago. You know this is a solid matter. We're even bleeding. Please, they shouldn't involve other people. We will raise the money. You don't know what 4 million is 15 years ago. When we raise the money, don't involve anybody. No. The guy who even sent message, I said, he's running out of patience. This is a serious matter. If we are not serious, we should tell him, please, we are making calls. Thank God nobody had the money to give us. I would have paid with my school fees. Talking discernment here.